For this practice, we're going to start by tracing over the image just to pick out the simple shapes. So that'll help just to break things up. Next, we'll draw out the simple shapes in the boxes to the right. Double check our measurements using sighting, and then modified contour to outline the details. So to get started with this picture on the left, think about the simple shapes and what's going to work best for you. There's a lot of different ways you could break this up. But I'm going to start with a kind of circle for the bottom here. And I know you can't really see the lines that you're outlining. With pencil, it might be showing up a little bit more since the pictures are darker. And then I'm going to do a triangle for the head. And then a circle for on top of the head, triangle for the beak, and a half circle down at the bottom. So I'm going to try that over here. So kind of this partial circle, triangle coming off of it for the head, triangle for the beak, which starts at the top of this triangle, this half circle coming down here, and then this larger circle on the top. So super simple to break that up quickly into good shapes. Now I'm going to look at my measurements. So how I'm going to do this is finding a smaller area to measure things with. So I'm going to use the beak. So I'm going to measure how big the beak is here with holding my thumb to where the end of the beak is and count how many beaks fit in this part on the top of the head. So 1, 2, 3, about 3 beaks. So now I'm going to come over here and measure how big my beak is on my drawing and see if there's 3 that are going to fit across. So 1, 2, 3. So it didn't completely line up, which tells me that this needs to be a little bit bigger. So I'm going to extend that out. So now if I measure, I can double check that 3 beaks fit in this section. So now I have 3 beaks that fit. Now I'm going to measure the beak versus this part here underneath. So about 1.5 beaks fit there. So now I can measure 1.5, so that's accurate. And then I can also measure the body or this kind of partial circle here. So I have my beak measurement and I'm just going to start at the bottom. So 1, 2, 3, about 3.5. So now I'm going to take my beak over here and measure how many fit in the bottom. So 1, 2, 3, about 3.5. So that was a great measurement. If it didn't, I could then go in and adjust, making this bigger or smaller to fit. So all of my measurements are as accurate as I can get them now. And I'm going to go ahead and start with my modified contour drawing next. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and start outlining with the modified contour. So this is where I'm starting to refine the edges. This beak is obviously not a perfect triangle, so I'm looking at the shape of that, how it kind of bends down and up a little bit. And then on top of this are those little triangles coming off that I'm going to draw at the top, and then coming around here to the side and the back. And then I can kind of curve out the top of the head and connect this. If this was drawn in pencil, I would be erasing these lines in the middle because we don't really need those anymore. And outlining how this comes around where the eye is, and gonna draw the outline for the eye. So really take your time outlining all of this detail. Look at little highlights, so little white areas that you can outline. The more that you can, the better that end result will be. So outlining some of the darker areas on here. And then there's some lines on the feathers. You can see some of these highlights. So I'm going to outline some of these lines. And like I said, definitely erase this area here and get all of this outlined with details. So continue on, add more detail to this, and really take your time. When you're ready, move down to the second drawing here. For this, I'm going to go ahead and start with just a circle for this main part of the canoe. And then there's a little triangle on the top. And then you could even use line coming across here, and then a line to separate this with kind of two triangles coming across. So think about what shapes are going to work the best for you. It doesn't have to be exactly what I'm doing. But like I said, starting with a circle, triangle on the top, there's these lines that come across in the middle here and here. And then this line in the middle that's kind of creating these triangles coming out like this. And then you can continue just kind of refining the details from this point. So this can kind of be curved out. And then I would move in with the modified contour drawings. So you can even look at the grass on the outside, getting all of these details added for each little grass blade. How this comes up. There's some overlapping. And then I would start at the top here and draw this coming down. There's this darker area in the middle, so I'm going to outline that with this little highlight. And then I'm going to outline these bars that come across the canoe and the second bar that's coming across the canoe. And then there's some details on the inside. So this little highlight that comes around here. So really take your time getting all of this outlined. So this is all kind of a shadow underneath. And then this comes around. All right, so go ahead and give this a try if you haven't yet, really looking at details, even some of these details on the outside of the canoe. You can see there's maybe some letters over here and numbers that you can draw or take your best guess at what they are and draw, and then outlining these shadows here.